Welcome back to Think and Speak podcast. Today we are solving one of the most common English grammar problems. How to use has, have, and had correctly. Mr. Miller, why do so many learners struggle with these three words?
Emma, learners struggle because have is not just a main verb showing possession. It is also an auxiliary verb used in perfect tenses. That means it changes depending on the subject and the time reference. If you misunderstand it, your grammar becomes confusing.
Exactly. Many students say things like she have finished or I has a car. These small mistakes can reduce confidence.
That's why today we will clearly explain subject-verb agreement, present perfect, past perfect, contractions, and real-life usage examples. If you want to speak English fluently and avoid embarrassing grammar mistakes, this lesson is for you. Like this video, comment perfect tense, and tell us which form confuses you most. Has, have, or had. Let's master this together.
Mr. Miller, let us begin with the basics. Many learners are confused about when to use has and have in the present tense. For example, why do we say she has a car but they have a car? Could you clearly explain subject-verb agreement in the present simple tense? Also, please explain how has and have function both as main verbs of possession and as auxiliary verbs in the present perfect tense. Our viewers want a clear, structured explanation with modern examples that they can apply immediately in daily conversation.
Excellent starting point, Emma. Let us begin with subject-verb agreement in the present simple tense. In English, verbs change form depending on the subject. With the verb have, we use I have, you have, we have, they have, he has, she has, it has. The rule is simple. When the subject is third-person singular, he, she, it, we use has. For all other subjects, we use have. Examples of possession. I have a laptop. She has a meeting today. They have 2 children. It has 4 wheels. Notice the singular subject, she, requires has. Now let us discuss negative forms. I do not have a car. She does not have a car. Notice that after does, we return to the base form have, not has. This is because does already carries the third-person singular marker. Now let us examine have and has as auxiliary verbs in the present perfect tense. Structure of present perfect. Subject plus has / have plus past participle. Examples. I have finished my work. She has completed the project. They have traveled to London. Here, have and has are helping verbs. The main verb appears in its past participle form, finished, completed, traveled. The present perfect connects past actions to the present moment. For example, she has lost her keys. She lost them, and now she does not have them. In modern spoken English, contractions are common. I've finished. She's completed the task. However, learners must be careful. She's can mean she is or she has, depending on context. By understanding subject-verb agreement and the difference between main verb and auxiliary verb usage, learners can confidently use has and have in daily communication.
Mr. Miller, now let us move to had. Many learners do not know when to use had instead of has or have. Could you explain how had works in the past simple and in the past perfect tense? For example, what is the difference between I had dinner and I had finished dinner before she arrived? Please explain the grammar structure of past perfect and when we need to use it in storytelling or professional communication. Our audience wants to understand time relationships clearly.
Wonderful question, Emma. Let us clarify had step by step. First, had is the past form of have and has. It is used with all subjects. I had, you had, he had, she had, we had, they had. In the past simple tense, had can function as a main verb showing possession. I had a busy day yesterday. She had a headache last night. Now let us move to the past perfect tense. Structure. Subject plus had plus past participle. Example. I had finished dinner before she arrived. The past perfect describes an action that happened before another action in the past. It creates a timeline. For example, when I arrived at the restaurant, they had closed. Closing happened first. Arrival happened second. Another example. She had studied English before she moved abroad. Study happened first. Moving abroad happened later. Without past perfect, the sequence may be unclear. She studied English before she moved abroad. This is still correct, but past perfect emphasizes the earlier action more clearly. In storytelling, past perfect sets the background. I was nervous because I had never given a presentation before. Structure. Subject plus had plus past participle. Notice that had does not change with the subject. In spoken English, contractions are common. I'd finished. She'd already left. Be careful, I'd can mean I had or I would. Context is important. By understanding past simple and past perfect usage, learners can clearly describe sequences of events and improve narrative skills.
Mr. Miller, learners often confuse have had, has had, and had had. These combinations look strange but are grammatically correct. Could you explain how these forms work, especially in present perfect and past perfect structures? For example, how do we understand a sentence like "She has had a long day," or "I had had enough before he apologized"? Please break down the grammar and provide clear, practical examples.
Excellent advanced question, Emma. These combinations look confusing, but they follow clear grammatical rules. Let us begin with has had and have had. These forms appear in the present perfect tense. Structure. Subject plus has slash have plus had. Here, the first word, has slash have, is the auxiliary verb. The second word, had, is the past participle of have. Example: she has had a long day. Breakdown. Has equals auxiliary verb. Had equals past participle, main verb meaning experienced. Meaning, she experienced a long day, and it affects her now. Another example: I have had this phone for 3 years. This shows possession from the past until now. It emphasizes duration. Now let us examine had, which appears in past perfect. Structure. Subject plus had. Example: I had had enough before he apologized. The first, had, is the auxiliary. The second, had, is the past participle. Meaning, the feeling of frustration happened before the apology. Another example: she had had 3 meetings before lunchtime. This shows sequence. The meetings happened earlier in the past. Although it sounds repetitive, it is grammatically correct. To simplify, has slash have plus had equals present perfect. Had plus had equals past perfect. These structures are common in storytelling and professional communication. For example, he has had many opportunities. They had had several discussions before the decision was made. Understanding auxiliary verbs and past participles removes confusion. When learners master these forms, they gain control over time expressions, sequence, and experience in English. That is advanced grammar confidence. This is how you truly understand has, have, and had in modern English usage.
Mr. Miller, many learners struggle with questions and negative sentences when using has, have, and had. For example, they often say, "Has she finished?" correctly, but then make mistakes like "she hasn't finished" with incorrect intonation, or they confuse "did you have" with "have you had." Could you clearly explain how to form questions and negatives in the present simple, present perfect, and past perfect using these verbs? Please include examples with auxiliary verbs like do, does, and did, and clarify when have acts as a main verb and when it acts as a helping verb. Our viewers want to build strong grammatical accuracy in real conversations.
That is a very important area, Emma. Understanding questions and negatives is essential for fluency. Let us begin with the present simple when have is a main verb showing possession. Affirmative: she has a car. Negative: she does not have a car. Notice something very important. When we use does, the main verb returns to its base form, have, not has. This is because does already carries the third-person singular marker. Question form: does she have a car? Structure: does plus subject plus base verb. Now let us move to the present perfect, where has slash have functions as an auxiliary verb. Affirmative: she has finished her homework. Negative: she has not finished her homework. Contraction: She hasn't finished. Question. Has she finished her homework? Structure. Has /have plus subject plus past participle? Notice that we do not use do or does in present perfect because /have already functions as the auxiliary verb. Now let us examine the past perfect. Affirmative. She had completed the report. Negative. She had not completed the report. Contraction. She hadn't completed. Question. Had she completed the report before the meeting? Structure. Had plus subject plus past participle? Finally, compare these two questions. Did you have lunch? Past simple. Have you had lunch? Present perfect. The first refers to a specific time in the past. The second connects the past action to the present moment. Understanding auxiliary verbs, base forms, and past participles helps learners avoid confusion and speak with grammatical confidence.
Mr. Miller, let us talk about everyday expressions with have, has, and had that are not only about possession. For example, we say have breakfast, have a shower, or have a meeting. These are common collocations, but learners sometimes translate directly from their native language and make mistakes. Could you explain how have works in common expressions, idioms, and fixed phrases? Also, please clarify when we use have got in modern spoken English and how it differs from simply saying have. Our audience wants to sound natural and modern in daily conversation.
Excellent topic, Emma. The verb have is extremely versatile in English. It is not only about possession, it is also used in many collocations and fixed expressions. First, let us discuss common collocations. A collocation is a natural word combination. For example, have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner, have a shower, have a break, have a meeting, have fun. In these expressions, have does not mean possession. Instead, it means experience or participate in. For example, I had breakfast at 8 a.m. She is having a meeting right now. Present continuous. Notice that in continuous tenses, have can act as a dynamic verb when it refers to activities. I am having dinner. However, when have shows possession, we usually do not use continuous form. Correct. I have a car. Incorrect. I am having a car. Now let us discuss have got, which is common in British English and informal conversation. I have got a car. She has got 2 sisters. In meaning, have got equals have for possession. Structure. Subject plus has /have plus got. In questions, have you got a pen? In negatives, I haven't got any money. In American English, people often prefer, do you have a pen? Both forms are correct, but usage depends on region and style. Now let us explore idiomatic expressions. Have a good time. Have a look. Have a seat. Have a chance. For example, please have a seat. Polite invitation. I'll have a look at the report. Future intention. Understanding collocations, dynamic versus stative usage, and regional variations like have got helps learners sound natural and fluent. Mastering these everyday expressions transforms grammar knowledge into real communication power.
Mr. Miller, many advanced learners encounter sentences where have is used in causative structures, such as I had my hair cut, or she has her car repaired. These sentences do not mean that the person performed the action personally, but that someone else did it for them. Could you explain how the causative form with have works in different tenses? Please clarify the grammar structure, including object plus past participle, and explain the difference between I cut my hair and I had my hair cut. Our viewers want to understand how to use this structure correctly in modern professional English.
That is an excellent advanced grammar question, Emma. The causative form with have is very common in English, especially when talking about services. Let us begin with the basic structure. Subject plus have /has /had plus object plus past participle. For example, I had my hair cut. She has her car repaired. They are having their house painted. In this structure, the subject does not perform the action. Instead, another person performs the action for them. The focus is on arranging the service. Now compare these two sentences. I cut my hair. This means I personally used scissors and cut my own hair. I had my hair cut. This means I went to a hairdresser, and the hairdresser cut it. The difference is extremely important. Now let us examine different tenses. Present simple. I have my car washed every week. Regular service. Present perfect. I have had my car washed. Recently completed service. Past simple. I had my car washed yesterday. Past perfect. I had my car washed before the trip. This means the washing happened before another past event. Future. I will have my car repaired tomorrow. Now let us analyze the grammar carefully. The verb have changes depending on tense and subject. The main action appears in past participle form: cut, repaired, washed, painted. We never use the base verb in this structure. Incorrect. I had my hair cut. Correct. I had my hair cut. Cut is irregular. Past participle equals cut. The causative form is very common in professional English. We had the website redesigned. She is having her office renovated. It sounds formal and efficient. By mastering the causative structure, learners can describe services, arrangements, and professional activities accurately and confidently.
Mr. Miller, finally, let us talk about contractions and pronunciation. In spoken English, people say I've, she's, they've, or I'd, and sometimes learners get confused because she's can mean she is or she has. How can learners correctly understand and pronounce contractions with have, has, and had? Please explain how context determines meaning and how contractions function grammatically in perfect tenses. Our audience wants to improve both listening and speaking skills.
That is a very important topic, Emma, especially for listening comprehension. Let us begin with contractions in the present perfect tense. I have finished becomes I've finished. She has completed becomes she's completed. They have arrived becomes they've arrived. Structure. Subject plus VE, have, plus past participle. Subject plus S, has, plus past participle. Now here is where confusion begins. She's can mean she is, or she has. The difference depends on what follows. If it is followed by a present participle, ing form, it usually means is. She's working. She is working. If it is followed by a past participle, it means has. She's finished. She has finished. Context and verb form are the key. Now let us discuss had contractions. I had finished becomes I'd finished. She had left becomes she'd left. However, I'd can also mean I would. I'd like some coffee. I would like. I'd finished before he arrived. I had finished. Again, context clarifies meaning. Pronunciation also matters. In fast speech, I've sounds like I've. She's sounds like she's. They've sounds like they've. Past participles are often reduced in speech. I finished may sound like I've finished. To improve, learners should practice shadowing native speakers, listening to podcasts, and repeating contractions naturally. Contractions make speech sound fluent and modern. In formal writing, full forms are preferred, but in conversation, contractions are essential. By understanding grammar structure, verb forms, and pronunciation patterns, learners can confidently use and recognize contractions with have, has, and had in real-life English communication. This is how advanced grammar becomes natural spoken English.